Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Tamarinu, examples. And we can see that the word tamarinu does not have tanween. And the reason why it does not have tanween is because it is mamnu min as-sarf, as it is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. That's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. أجيب عن الأسئلة الآتية. Answer the following question. ما اسم الطالب الجديد؟ ما اسم الطالب الجديد? What is the name of the new student? And as we learned that his name was Ukasha. So اسمه Ukashatu. Okay, now we can see here that the word Ukasha also doesn't have tanween. Why is that? It doesn't have tanween? Because it is also mamnu min as-sarf. Why is it mamnu min as-sarf? Because it's a masculine name and it ends with ta marbuta, like Usamatu wa Hamzatu wa Talhatu. So all the masculine names that end with ta marbuta, they will be mamnu min as-sarf. So we can see over here that there are two examples of mamnu min as-sarf. One is on the pattern of mafa'ilu, and the other is a masculine name that ends with ta marbuta. Man allamahu al-lughata al-arabiyyata. So allama, teach. Man allama, who taught him al-lughat al-arabiyyata, the Arabic language. And we learned that his father taught him the Arabic language. So the answer will be allamahu iyaha abuhu. His father taught it to him. And when we say it, it refers to the language. Abu will be fail, and allama will be the verb, and who will be maf'ul bihi al-awwal, and iyaha will be al-maf'ul bihi al-thani, as we can see over here. Allamuhu iyaha abuhu. His father taught it to him. Fi ayyi musabaqatin. Musabaqa, as we know that sabaqa yusabiqu musabaqatan. It's a masdar and it means competition. في أي مسابقة يشترك أسامة وزميله. So يشترك أسامة وزميله. So in which competition Usama and his two colleagues will participate? زميله, it was زميلani, and we know that when we use the dual as mudaf ilayh, then the noon gets dropped, so it becomes زميله, two of his colleagues. So what was the competition? It was a swimming competition, right? So يشتركون في مسابقة السباحة. They are participating in swimming competition. يشتركون, they are participating. So why do we say يشتركون? Because they are three now. We have Osama and two of his colleagues. So we know that when we have more than two, it becomes plural. So Osama plus two of his colleagues. So it becomes three. So يشتركون في مسابقة السباحة. They are participating in swimming competition. As we know that this lesson is all about pronouns, and most of them, almost all of them, we have learned already, starting from book number 1, book number 2, and now almost by the end of book number 3. Basically, we have a summary of all the pronouns that we have learned so far. الضمير إما متصل وإما منفصل. متصل ومنفصل. What about these two nouns? Do you remember their conjugation, or do you remember their the pattern? What pattern are they on? And which bab do they belong to? Muttasil, as we can see that it starts with mim, and mim has dhamma, and then the second last letter has kasra. So ittasala yattasilu ittisalan fahuwa muttasilun. And then we have munfasilun, infasala yanfasilu infisalan. So from number 7 and 8. So we can see over here that this is also on the pattern of ismul fa'il. The pronouns are either uh, attached or detached, or in fact, yeah. So الضمير إما متصل, they are attached, وإما منفصل, or they are detached. فالضمير المنفصل, as for the pronouns that are detached, or we can say separate or independent, ما يبدأ به في النطق, with which the speech starts. So here ma means alladhi. Alladhi bada'a yabda'u, and here we have the passive form yubda'u bihi fi nutqi. Nutq, nadaqa yantiqu natqan is basically to pronounce or to talk, and here we will translate it as a speech. So what are فالضمير المنفصل ما يبدأ به في النطق, with which the speech starts. For example, we say ana muslimun, so we can see that our speech starts with ana, and we know that ana is subject and muslimun is predicate, and that is what the sheikh is telling us clearly, ma yubdahu bihi fi nutqi, in which the speech starts. Wa yaqa'u, as we know, waqa yaqa'u, to happen. Wa yaqa'u ba'da illa nahwu, and also it comes after illa. For example, ما فهم الدرس إلا أنت. So now we can see over here that it can also come after illa. So there are two possibilities. Number one, it comes in the beginning of the sentence, and number two, it comes after illa, as we can see over here. So the first one is over here, and the second one is over here. ما فهم الدرس إلا أنت. No one understood the lesson except for you. Also, it's possible to use them in the beginning of the sentence for the purpose of hasrun or for the purpose of emphasis. Iyaka ra'aytu, I saw only you. It is possible to say ra'aytu iyaka, but when we say iyaka ra'aytu, it is used for emphasis. And we know that ra'aytu is fail plus file, and iyaka is maf'ul bihi, right? So this is subject plus verb, and this is object, because we know that iyahu, iyahuma, iyahunna, and the whole up to iyana, all of them are used as object. So this is subject plus verb, as we know that ra'aytu is the verb and tu is the subject, and then we will say iyaka is the object, and it has become, or it has come in the beginning, or it has become muqaddim ala fi'lin. It is like it comes before the verb for the purpose of emphasis, and we have seen in the previous lesson example from Surah Al-Fatiha, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. It is possible to say na'buduka wa nasta'inuka, but when we say iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, it becomes more emphatic. And the other way is to say this is ma ra'aytu illa iyyaka. I didn't see anyone else except for you. If you remember, we discussed in one of the lessons that ma and illa, the combination of ma and illa, and similarly the combination of la and illa, it is used for the purpose of hasran, confinement, when you confine the meaning to some specific thing, to make it specific and to give the meaning of only. So we can use ma and illa, and similarly we can use la and illa. Both of them are used for emphasis. وَالضَّمِيرُ الْمُتَّصِلُ. So the detached pronouns, or we can say the pronouns of raf'un, because these ones come in the beginning of the sentence, they are easy to understand. But when we talk about the attached pronouns, وَالضَّمِيرُ الْمُتَّصِلُ, the attached pronouns, then over there we need to be slightly careful, because they are used in different ways, and we know that they can be used with the noun, they can be used with the preposition, and also they can be used with the verb. So in that case, we see that sometimes it becomes slightly difficult to understand. Ma la yubda'u bihi fi nutqi. So the first thing we need to know that in which the speech does not start. So here ma yubda'u bihi fi nutqi, with which the speech starts, as we can see over here. And here ma la yubda, la an-nafiya, la yubda'u bihi fi nutqi, with which the speech does not start. Ma ma'naha means we cannot use them in the beginning of the sentence. وَلَا يَقَعُ بَعْدَ إِلَّا, and also they do not come after illa. التاء والهاء, like ta, like we have seen the example over here. um, رأيت, so we can see over here رأيت is also, we know that it's a attached pronoun, and it is ta over here. So كالتاء والهاء, ha we can see over here رأيته. So it's not possible to separate them and to bring illa inside. It's not possible. We cannot say رأيت illahu. It does not make any sense, right? So with ad-damir al-muttasil, with the attached pronoun, we cannot start a speech. That means we cannot use them in the beginning of the sentence or to start a sentence. Is this clear? If this idea is clear, inshallah, the rest of the lesson will be very easy to understand. Now we talk about ضمائر الرفع المنفصلة. So now we talk about the pronouns of rafa and the separate one or the detached ones, as we gave them the name of detached. So ضمائر الرفع المنفصلة, these are the ones that are the pronouns of rafa. هو هما هم, هي هما هن, أنت أنتما أنتم, أنت أنتما أنتن, أنا ونحن. So these are the pronouns of raf'un, yani they are used as marfu', as raf'un. They generally come in the beginning of the sentence and they come by themselves. They are not attached, they are detached. So again, this is pretty easier and straightforward. But then we talk about ad-dama'iru rafi al-muttasilatu. Now we talk about the attached forms and the attached forms that are used for raf'un, or they are used as marfu'. The following are the attached pronouns of raf'un. Okay, now can the attached pronouns be marfu'? Yes, they can be marfu'. How can they be marfu'? Because generally we know that they come after the verb, they will be maf'ul bihi. If they come after the preposition, they will be majroor, and if they come after a noun, they will be mudaf ilayh. So they can be used as marfu' when we talk about the verb, not about the noun, about the verb, and they are used as raf'un. For example, ta'ul fa'il mutaharrikatu, ta of the doer, which is mutaharrik. For example, dhahabtu. So now we can see over here that in dhahabtu, ta is the fa'il. If you remember, whenever we talk about, or whenever we do the analysis of dhahabtu, we say fail plus fa'il. So what do we say? Verb plus, we say doer. So how do we get the meaning of verb plus doer? We know that dhahaba is the verb. So dhahaba is the verb, and when we say dhahabtu, that means you say I went. So when you look at the translation in English, it becomes straightforward. I went. So how do we get the meaning of I? Where does I come from? So basically, dhahaba is the verb, and tu is the fa'il, is the doer. So this is marfu'. Dhahabtu is marfu'. So this is for the mutakallim, first person singular. Then we talk about the second person, the dual, antuma yani. So we say dhahabtuma. Again, we can see that tu is the doer over here. And then we have for the plural of third person, we say dhahabtum, you all went. So here tum is the doer. And then we say dhahabtunna. So in dhahabtunna, tu is the doer. Antunna dhahabtunna, yani you all ladies went. So now we can see here that tu, and tu, we have this in the verbs, and this is marfu'. All of them are marfu', and they are attached, right? They are attached, they are not detached. They are attached with with what? They are attached with the verb. They are attached with the verb. Aliful ithnaini kama fi, and then the alif of dual, or the alif of duality. As we know that when we talk about the dual, we have alif, and this is the sign of duality. So when we say dhahaba, again, dhahaba is the verb, and alif is basically the doer. Dhahaba, they both went. And dhahabata, again, they both went for the feminine, two ladies. Dhahaba and dhahabata. And then this is for the past. And when we talk about the present, we have yadhabani, they both go, and tadhabani, those two ladies go, or those two men go. It depends. You both men go. It depends on the context how we are using it. So and ani is basically the sound of the dual, as we know. And when we talk about fi'l al-amr, we say idhab for singular, idhaba for the dual, idhabu for the plural. So idhaba is the fi'l al-amr over here. So this is also alif over here. So here, these two are the examples of the past tense. These two are the examples of the present tense. And this one is the example of fi'l al-amr. Past tense ending with alif is dual. Similarly, the mudari having alif inside it is the dual, and fi'l al-amr ending with the alif is also for the dual. Then we say wawul jama'ati, the waw of jama'a or of the whole group. So we know that whenever we use this waw, it represents the whole group, the group of the people. So as we say, dhahabu, they all went, yadhabuna, they all go, and idhabu, you all go. So this is the past tense, and this is the present tense, and this is fi'l al-amr. It's a command, or we can say imperative. So idhabu. So now we can see over here that waw is the doer over here, or it is the fa'il, and it is marfu'. So these are here the three. For example, we have ta, alif, and waw, and we have two more. We can see over here, ya ul mukhatabati, ya of mukhatib, ya of the second person. And we know that this is a rare case which happens for the second person singular feminine, yani anti. So we say anti tadhhabina. So here when we say tadhhabina, tadhhab we know is basically the verb. Noon is zaida, or we can say noon and niswa, because it gets dropped. And where is the doer? The doer is ya. And when we talk about fi'l al-amr, we say idhhabi, yani anti tadhhabi, or anti idhhabi. So here ya is also the doer. So ya al mukhatabati, it happens, or it occurs only in the second person for the feminine singular, tadhhabina. And then in the end we have nun niswati, kama fi dhahabna wa yadhhabna wa idhhabna. And we know that all of these are used for the feminine plural. Dhahabna is the past tense, yadhhabna is the present tense, and idhhabna is fi'l al-amr, and noon is the doer over here. We know that the i'rab can be reflected in two ways. Either we can reflect it with dhamma, fatha, or kasra, or we can reflect it with waw, alif, and ya. So for example, in muslimuna we have waw, dhahaba we have alif, and we have ina, we have tadhhabina, so we have ya. So the i'rab can be reflected only in two ways, and we have seen that sometimes they end with dhamma, fatha, or kasra, or sometimes they end with waw, alif, and ya. So these are the only two possibilities. So those are the verbs that are attached, and they are marfu. And the last one, sorry, I forgot over here. We have na, kama fi dhahabna, we all went. So these are the attached pronouns, and they are the attached pronouns of raf'un or marfu', and they come only in the verbs. Now we talk about the most important damair, damairu nasbi al-munfasilatu, the pronouns of nasb, the separate forms. And why do we say they are very important? Because in this course we are learning them for the first time. So we have learned in the previous lesson that iya is basically a special construction that is used with hu, huma, hum, ha, huma, hunna, ka, kuma, kum, I, and na. So it is a special construction that means only. So we have iyahu, iyahuma, iyahum, iyaha, iyahuma, iyahunna, iyaka, iyakuma, iyakum, iyaki, iyakuma, iyakunna, iyaya, and iyana. And we know that these are the object pronouns. What is the meaning of object pronouns? They are the pronouns of nasbun, they always come as an object for the verb. So whenever we have verb, they come after the verb. They can come either before the verb or they can come after the verb. So whenever we use them before the verb, that means we use them for the purpose of hasrun or emphasis. ضمائر النصب المتصلة. Now we have learned already that when we use the attached pronouns, when we use them with the verb, they are always object. They are always object. For example, Sa'ala who, he asked him. So Sa'ala is fi'l plus fa'il and who is the object, right? So all of them, when we use them, all the attached pronouns, when we use them with the verb, they will be always used as object. Used as what? They will always be object. So this is very important thing to know. We have learned that they can come with a noun, they can come with the verb, and they can come with the preposition. So it's very simple. If they come with the noun, they are mudaf, mudaf ilayh. If they come with the verb, they are object. And if they come with the preposition, they are majroor. So sa'alahu, sa'alahuma, sa'alahum. He asked him, he asked both of them, and he asked all of them. Sa'alaha, sa'alahuma, sa'alahunna. He asked her, he asked both of them, and he asked all those ladies. Sa'alaka, sa'alakuma, sa'alakum. He asked you, he asked both of you, and he asked all of you. And sa'alaki, sa'alakuma, sa'alakunna. He asked you for singular feminine, he asked both of you, and he asked all of you ladies. Sa'alani and sa'alana. He asked me and he asked all of us. Now here we know that when we have sa'ala, and after that we have noon al-wiqaya, and then after that we have ya al-mutakallim. So it becomes sa'alani. So this is a rare case where we have to insert noon al-wiqaya, sorry. So we have to insert noon of protection. Whereas here it is part of the pronoun. So here there is not extra noon. Basically it is na. So there is no extra noon, but here we have additional noon, as we can see over here. ضمير نسب المتصل للمتكلم الياء فقط, as it comes only with the first person of the singular pronoun. أما النون فيؤتى بها لوقاية. As for the noon, it is brought. أتى يأتي is to come. Utiya yu'ta is to come. Sorry, atayati is the past tense. He came. And similarly, we have utiya yu'ta, he comes, and this is the passive. And we know that when we have ba with the present preposition of atayati, it means to bring. It means to bring. Amma nunu fayu'ta biha liwaqayati, and this is brought. This is brought for the purpose of protection. Ma qablaha min al-kasri, whatever is before it, and we put kasra before this. وَتُسَمَّى noon al-wiqayati, and it is called the noon of protection. And it protects basically sa'ala, it ends with fatha. After that, we have to use ya mutakallim, ya al-mutakallim. So fatha and ya al-mutakallim do not come together. So what we have to do, we have to add noon al-wiqaya. And noon al-wiqaya will take kasra. Why it will take kasra? Because we know kasra is compatible with ya al-mutakallim. So that's why it has to be sa'alani. And then we have dama'iru al-jarri, the pronouns of jar. Very easy. La ta'ti illa muttasilatan. They don't come except as attached pronouns. So the pronouns of jar, they are only used as attached pronouns. They are only used as what? As attached pronouns. Ka al-kafi, subhanallah. So this ka is a preposition, and this kaf is the letter of Arabic language. So we basically say ka plus fa. So ka al-kafi, like the preposition ka, kitaba, kitabi ki, your book, fi kitabi ki, in your book. So here we can say kitab is mudaf and ki is mudaf ilayh. Ki is what? Mudaf ilayh. So fi kitabiki, in your book. Well, hafi lahu, and similarly in whenever we say we have the attached pronoun who, and we want to use a preposition with that, we will say lahu. or we can say fihi, or we can say bihi. So we know that the prepositions can be used with the attached pronouns. So the summary is the detached pronouns, huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, they are used as fa'il, they are used as subject, they come in the beginning of the sentence. And then we have the object pronouns, and the object pronouns come as an object. They are called dama'irun nasbi. And then we have the uh, pronouns that are used as jar, dama'irul jarri, and we know that they always come after the preposition, or they are always used as mudaf ilayh. استخرج الضمائر الواردة في الدرس واذكر نوع كل واحد منها. Sorry. So now what we have to do, we have to extract all the pronouns from the lesson. And we know that this lesson is, subhanAllah, full of, like the use of pronouns, like heavily embedded with the use of pronouns. So I'm sure, inshallah, when you sit back and you try to figure that out, you can extract them all from the lesson. And I'm sure you will come across around the use like 25 to 30 or maybe 40 pronouns being used in the lesson. Now we have a little bit more information over here. First, we have seen that we have the pronouns of nasb, which are used as detached, or they can be detached. And now here we will see that pronouns of nasb should be separate in the following cases. So now we are talking about 5 cases where the object pronouns should be munfasil. They should be separate. We cannot attach them. The object pronouns, there are 5 cases where they have to be separate. They have to be detached, as I should say. Number 1, if it is maf'ul bihi and precedes the verb. Number 1, if when it is object and it comes before the verb. We know that generally the pronoun comes after the verb. It comes after the verb. But if we want to bring it before the verb, then we will bring it using iya, and also it will be used for the purpose of emphasis. So iyyaka na'budu, it is you that we worship, or it is you alone that we worship, or it is you, or it is only you that we worship. So now if you want to get the meaning of hasrun, now you can see that we have to bring them, or we have to use them separately. And here it is attached to the verb na'buduka, it is attached. But when you want to say iyyaka na'budu, now it becomes detached. And we know that na'budu is verb plus subject, and iya is the object, and it is detached. As we can see, it is separate. So that's the first possibility. Please remember, try to remember these possibilities, because inshallah, when we start the lesson, then we have to do that, and we have to figure out. I mean, when we do the exercises, we cannot say ka nabudu, as ka is an attached pronoun and cannot stand alone. So we can't really say ka nabudu. So that's why we have to bring iya before that. So it becomes iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Then number 2, if it is maf'ul bihi of a masdar. Now this is very interesting thing. I don't know if you came across this or not, that the masdar is also amil. Masdar is what? It is also amil. It does the amal like preposition, or like the verb. So now if you see over here that it has to be maf'ul bihi of a masdar. It should be what? It should be maf'ul bihi, and it should be object of what? Object of masdar. Generally, what do we know? We know that the verb has an object, right? As we have seen over here, na'bud is the verb and ka is the object, right? And here we can see that the masdar has its object as well. So nantadhiru ziyarat al-mudiri iyana. So now we can see over here that ziyarata, as we nantadhiru ziyarat al-mudiri iyana. So now we can see that ziyara is mudaf and al-mudir is mudaf ilayh, right? So now what happens over here? Ziyara, whenever we use masdar, whenever we use it as mudaf, then it needs an object. And where is the object? Here is the object. So nantadhiru is fail plus file. We will wait. And ziyarata is maf'ul bihi of what? It is maf'ul bihi of we will wait, right? So this is verb plus subject, and here we have object. And ziyara is object. However, we know that the masdar is generally used as mudaf, right? And then the noun that follows it as mudaf ilayh. So now we have ziyarata is mudaf, al-mudiri is mudaf ilayh, and iyana is the object of what? It is the object of the masdar. So the masdar has its own object as well. Here masdar is the object of nantadhiru, and here it has its own object, which is iyana. So we are awaiting the headmaster's visit to us. So why do we need to bring in iyana? Because it has to be the object of the masdar. And if you want to see the example of this one, like how the masdar can be amil, or how it can give a nasb to the noun that comes after that. If you go to Surat Maryam, and the first verse of Surat Maryam is A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. It is, in fact, the second verse. So the first one is, as we know, Hurufi Muqatta'at, and the second one is Dhikru Rahmati Rabbika Abdahu Zakariya. So if you see over here, it is Dhikru Rahmati Rabbika. So we know Dhikru is used as Mudaf, Rahmati is Mudaf ilayh plus Mudaf, and Rabbika is Mudaf ilayh plus Mudaf. Abdahu, Abda, Abda. Now we can see that the kalima Abd is Mansub. And why is it Mansub? It is Mansub because of Dhikru, because Dhikru is the Amil over here, and it gives Nasb to the object as well. So if inshallah, when you read your Musaf and you focus on that, you will see that the word abd is mansub. And why it is mansub? It is mansub because of the masdar. So it's something maybe you know, something you don't know, and it is very, very important. Please write it down, focus on this, and try to follow the examples in the Quran, where we will see that whenever the masdar, you know what masdar is, right? We have been discussing about it from book 1. So it is basically zara yazuru ziyaratan. So when it is used as mudaf, it also functions as mudaf and also functions as amil, and it gives the noun that comes after that, it makes it mansub. Here iyana is the object of the masdar ziyara. So it's very clear now. And so the first possibility is when you want to bring the object before the verb. So that's number 1, when we want to bring the object before the verb. And the possibility number 2, where we have to use the separate pronouns, is that when they happen to be the object of the masdar. And the reason why I'm emphasizing it again and again, because this information, you will not come across this again. You will not find it in most of the books of the Sarf and Nahb. So here, this is something that you need to focus on at this point. Number 3, if it occurs after a conjunction. So if it comes after harfi atf, and we know that we have learned lots of huruf al-atf. For example, we have learned wa, and we have learned thumma and aw and So all of them are harf atf. So the third possibility is when it comes after harfi atf. So it will also be used as a separate pronoun. Ra'aytuka wa iyyahu. I saw you and him. Now we cannot really say Ra'aytuka wa hu. No, that will be wrong. So what do we have to say? Ra'aytuka wa iyyahu. That is the third possibility. And the fourth possibility is comparatively easier if it occurs after illa. So when it comes after illa, it has to be used as a separate pronoun. La na'budu illa iyyahu. We worship none but him. So after illa, we have to also use the separate, or we have to use the detached pronoun. And the last one is if it occurs after an attached pronoun of nasb. So if it comes after an attached pronoun of nasb, then it has to be also used as the detached pronoun. Aina majallatul mudiri. Where is the magazine of the headmaster? Ta'ituhu iyaha. I gave it to you. Now we know that who is the pronoun of nasb, right? It is pronoun of nasb, as we can see over here. So we cannot really say ataytuhuha. That doesn't make any sense, Yani. We can't really say ataytuhuha. So what do we have to say? Ataytuhu iyaha. I gave it to him. Ataytuhu iyaha. I gave it to him. So these are the five possibilities where we have to use the detached pronouns separately. We have to use them separately. Um, is this clear? Please let me know. If it's clear, then fine, and we can proceed further. So five possibilities. Number one, when we precede or when we bring the object ahead of the verb, then we have to use them separately. Number two, when they are the object of the masdar, they have to be used separately. Number three, when they come after the conjunction. Number four, when they come after illa. And number five, when they come after an object of nasbun. So this is the summary of five places where these have to be used as detached pronouns. And the same information now we have in Arabic, the same 5 points so that we don't forget them. Yuta bi dhamiri nasbi munfasilan. Again, yuta bi is to brought. So yuta bi dhamiri nasbi, the the pronoun, the object pronoun is brought munfasilan as detached in the following cases. Number one, إذا كان مفعولا به وتقدم على فعله. تقدم. So when it is the object and it comes ahead of the verb, then we have to use the detached pronoun illa, or we have to, sorry, iya. So إياك نعبد إذ أصله na'buduka, and the original form is na'buduka. But if we want to use ka before na'budu, then we have to use it as a separate pronoun using iya. So we say iyaka na'budu. إذا وقع مفعولا لمصدر. And number two, when it happens to be the object of the masdar, and the masdar has to be mudaf. The masdarin mudafin ila fa'ilihi, when the masdar is used as mudaf. Masdar has to be used as mudaf. It is, if it is not used as mudaf, masdar is not amil. It will not do any function. But if the masdar is used as mudaf, and we will see the examples over here, then it will be used as a separate pronoun. For example, ziyaratul mudiri. So we can see that ziyara is masdar, fahuwa mudaf. So two things. How it is mudaf? It is the mudaf of al-mudiri. So ziyarat al-mudiri iyana, and the visit of the headmaster to us al-yawma, today. So it is masdar plus mudaf, and that's why after that we have to use the separate object pronoun. Similarly, we have darbuka iyaya, you are hitting me, ashaddu min darbi iyaka, is severe than hitting of mine to you. So darbuka, again, it is mudaf ilayh. And darbun, you know, daraba yadribu, darban is what? It is masdar. So it is masdar plus it is mudaf, and ka, as we can see, is mudaf ilayh. That's why after that we have to use iya. Darbuka iyaya, you're hitting me. Ashaddu is stronger, is harder. Min darbi iyaka, than hitting of mine to you, and then me hitting you. Number two, إذا وقع بعد حرف عطفي, حرف العطفي, and when it comes after the conjunction, نحو رأيتك وإياه, I saw you and him. إني وإياك ناجحان, me and you are successful. إذا وقع بعد إلا, if it comes after إلا, نحو ما سألت إلا إياك, I did not ask anyone else except you. لا نعبد إلا إياه, we don't worship anyone else except him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إذا وقع بعد ضمير نصب متصل, and when it comes with the object pronoun and it has to be attached. When it comes with the attached object pronoun. أين مجلة المدير, where is the مجلة magazine of the headmaster. أعطيته إياها, I gave it to you. إذا كان الضميران من رتبة واحدة وجب الفصل. And now the Sheikh is telling us that if two pronouns are of the same status, it is compulsory for us to separate them. Wajib al-faslu, then it is necessary that we have to separate them. Kama fil mithali as-sabiqi, as we have seen in the previous example. So if two pronouns come together and they are of the same family, for example, hu and ha, they are the third person and they are the same family. So the Sheikh is telling us that if we have the two object pronouns and they belong to the same family, when I say same family means whether they are the third person or the second person or the first person, and then we have to separate them. It is must to separate them. وإذا اختلف في رتبته, and if they are separate or if they are different in their status, جاز الوصل والفصل, then it is permissible to connect them, and it's also possible to separate them. وصل يصل وصلا is to reach, and فصل يفصل فصلا is to detach two things. So when is it possible to use them as attached pronouns and detached pronouns? When we have two different objects. When we have two different objects, for example, we have ka and we have hu. Now they are not the same family. If we have, for example, hu plus we have ha, then it is not possible. Hu and ha, it's not possible, and because they are the same, they are the third person, so we can't use them. But if we have two separate, then it is possible to use them as a separate, and we can also use them as attached pronouns. Aina kitabi, where is my book? Ataituka, who, I gave it to you. So ka and who, two objects. Are they similar objects? No. This is for the second person and this is for the first person. Ataituka iyahu, I gave it to you. So now there are two possibilities that we can use them as attached pronouns and we can also use them as detached pronouns. Is this clear? I don't hear anything, so I hope the silence means everything is clear.
Alhamdulillah,
Hopefully.
clear, Ustad.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Yeah, because when we are silent, I always tell my students there are two reasons. Either you understand everything or you do not understand anything. It's basically the repetition of everything that we have learned about the objects, starting from about the pronouns, starting from book number 1. The information is slightly redundant. It's like it's being used again and again, but then it's for the purpose of making things clearer for us and to make sure that we don't forget them again. الضمائر ثلاث رتب, and then the pronouns are of three types, we can say, or they have three different status. وهي, and it is رتبة الغائب, and that they are used as the third person. الغائب, we know that غائب is used for what? In English, we say it is used for the third person. So rutabin is also, it means person in Nahv. It means person. So ad-damairu thalathu rutabin, the pronouns have three persons. So we have the third person, which is called rutbatul ghaibi. Wadama'iruha huwa huma hum and hiya huma hunna. Then we have rutbatul mukhatabi, and then we have the second person, and in the second person, what do we have? We have wadama'iruha anta antuma antum anti antuma and antunna. And then we have the first person, where we have rutbatul mutakallim, first person. So rutba, as I said, it means status, and in grammar it is used for the persons. So the rutbatul mutakallimi, the first person, wa damairuha ana wa nahnu, and the first person pronouns are ana wa nahnu. Now what we have to do is takhrij min ad-darsi damair al-nasbi al-munfasila, and now we have to extract the object pronouns. وَاذْكُرْ سَبَبَ الْإِتْيَانِ, and we have to mention the reason of bringing them. بِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِنْهَا مُنْفَصِلًا, bringing all of them as separate pronouns. So if we are using them as object pronouns, and they are object pronouns plus they are detached, why they are used as detached pronouns? And we have already discussed the 5 reasons in detail, and now we will implement all those 5 reasons here so that we do not forget them. لم يطلب المراقب إلا إياك. The controller wants to see only you. So here, why we have to use we have used iya. Why did we use it? Because of illa. You remember that when we want to use illa, then after illa, what do we have to use? We have to use the detached pronoun with iya. So what is this? لِوَقُوعِهِ بَعْدَ إِلَّا. So here, why we have إِيَّاكَ? Because it is used after إِلَّا. You remember five reasons? So one of the five reasons is this, when it is used after إِلَّا. وقع يقع. وقوع is the masdar. لِوَقُوعِهِ for happening or for coming. بعد إِلَّا after إِلَّا. إِنِّي وَإِيَّاهُمَا. In fact, I shouldn't have displayed the answers over here, so it could have been more interesting. Anyways, here we can see that لِوَقُوعِهِ بَعْدَ حرف العطف. So here why we used إياها or إياهما? Why did we use it? Because of wow.
Conjunction verb.
Wow. Okay. So that's one of the possibilities. أَتَيْتُهُ إِيَّاهُ. Here why it is here why we have used إياه? Because we have two objects of the same
Masculine.
person. Yeah. لوقوعه بعد ضمير نسب متصل من رتبته, because both of them are for the third person. So when we have two attached pronouns and they are from the same person, may it be third person or second person or first person, then it's not possible to use them together. It is a must for us to use iyahu. Because is it possible to say أعطيته? Can we say that? It doesn't really make sense if you say أعطيته hu. So what do we say? أعطيته إياه. Then we have أعطيتهم إياه. Again we have whom and who. So you know that when we have from the third person, when they are from the same rutbah, when they're from the same status, then we have to use إياه, as we can see over here. لوقوعه بعد ضمير نسب متصل من رتبته, because both of them are from the third person. Can we say أعطيتهم who? أعطيتهم who? Does it
No,
sound
sir.
like good to your ears?
No.
Hmm.
No, sir.
Okay. Then we have so we have seen two possibilities. Let's say we have seen the possibility of iya, and then we have seen the possibility that when two pronouns are from the same rutbah or from the same person, and then the third possibility we can see over here, so that we don't remember, when we want to bring it before the verb, ahead of the verb. تسأل is verb plus subject, yani أنت تسأل. So تسأل, and after that we could have said تسألك, which is perfectly all right. But what we are doing over here, لتقدمه على فعله, we are bringing ahead of the verb. So when we bring it ahead of the verb, then we have to use إيايا. أإيايا تسأل? Are you asking about me? So as we can see over here, that because we bring it before the verb, that's why we have to use the detached pronoun إيايا. إياك أسأل, the same idea over here. لتقدمه على فعله. So here أسأل, so we can also say أسألك, I am asking you, right? We can say that. أنا أسألك, I'm asking you. But if I say إياك أسأل, then it means I am asking only about you. And what we did over here, we brought the object pronoun ahead of the verb. So if generally we know that they come after the verb, but if we bring them before the verb, then we have to use them with iya. Sa'iduka wa iyahum. Here we have the same possibility that it is coming after harf atf, as we can see, after coming a harf atf. So that's why we have to use the detached pronoun iyahum. Lan nansa musa'adaka iyana. Here, what's the possibility over here? Why do we use it over here? Yes, here it is the object of what?
Masdar is there.
As excellent. Ahsanti. Here it is the object of the masdar. Where is the masdar? Musa'adata. Musa'adatan, basically it was musa'adatan. Sa'ada yusa'idu musa'adatan. And we can see that musa'ada is masdar, and also it is mudaf. So
Daf.
two m's, yeah, mudaf. And we know that ka is mudaf ilayh. Excellent. So this is the fourth possibility over here, that when we use them as the object of the masdar, then we have to use the separate pronouns, as we can see over here. لن ننسى مساعدك إيانا. we will not forget your help to us, or the help that you offered to us. And لوقوعه مفعولا لمصدر مضاف إلى فاعله, so it has to be masdar and it has to be as mudaf to its doer, to the fa'il. Okay, and I think we have to look for the fifth possibility over here, and the fifth possibility over here is when we have two separate attached pronouns. So when we have two separate attached pronouns, then it's possible to use them in two possible ways. For example, man allamaka iyaha, and we can also say man allamaka ha. So both of the possibilities are there. لوقوعه بعد ضمير نسب متصل هذا جائز. So we can say man allamaka iyaha, and we can also say man allamaka ha, who taught it to you. So because ka is the second person and ha is the first person, so when the objects are from two different rutab, or we can say rutbatan, or from two different persons, then both of the possibilities are there, that we can use them as muttasil and we can use them as munfasil. علمني إياها أبي, my father taught it to me لوقوعه بعد ضمير نسب متصل هذا جائز. And again, we can also say علمنيها, and we can also say علمني إياها أبي, my father taught it to me. Then we have إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. So that was the fifth possibility. So لتقدم كل منهما على فعله. So what happened over here? The verb is نعبد, and here is نستعين. So if we say نعبدك ونستعينك, that is also possible. But if you want to say only you we worship and only you we ask for help, then we have to bring it ahead of the verb, and we have to make sure that we use it with إياك. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. It is because of taqdeem, taqdeem. So bringing something forward. ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه, and here it is very simple, that it is being used after إلا لوقوعه بعد إلا. So when it comes after إلا, we have to use the separate detached pronoun with إياه. يخرجون الرسول وإياكم, here it is coming after حرف عطف. So when it comes بعد حرف العطف, then again it has to be used separately. وإنا أو إياكم. Again, أو, as we know that this is also حرف عطف. So when we have أو لوقوعه بعد حرف العطف, then again it has to be used as a separate pronoun. يوم زيارة المدير إيانا. Now we have that زيارة المدير is مضاف مضاف إليه, and that's why it has to be used as the object pronoun. لوقوعه مفعولا لمصدر مضاف إلى فاعله. And the last one is ننتظر المدير وإياك. لوقوعه بعد حرف العطف, it has come after حرف عطف. So inshallah, I'm sure that this information is clear now. I've tried my level best, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us learn the language of the Quran and make us among those who are acceptable. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
عليكم
الله.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله